on the waters, the great unknown, where feet may fail. And there I find you in the mystery, the great unknown, my faith will stand. When I first came to OSL, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had never been to Texas. I had never even been out to the church. But as soon as I came, I realized that this was the greatest decision that I'd ever made. As soon as I got here, I started developing relationship with pastors and with mentors and with students that were working all alongside of me so that we could all figure out our passions for the Lord and figure out what it is that we were supposed to be doing. I'm just so blessed that this was where I was able to have my starting point. After I came here, I started leading worship for chapels, and that was a really awesome experience, and that led to me being able to sometimes lead on Sunday mornings alongside of our worship pastor. I just can't believe that this is where I was able to have my starting point. I remember the moment when I realized that I was in the right place. I was leading worship on a Sunday morning next to our worship pastor, and I can't even remember what the song was that we were singing, but it was this moment where we were worshiping and all of a sudden the room just started to take over worship and we weren't leading anymore. And I just remember taking out my ears and listening to the congregation singing. And in that moment, there was something that happened in my heart. And the Lord was telling me, this is where you're supposed to be. These people are the people that you're supposed to be loving on right now, especially for this season. At that point, I decided, if this is where I'm supposed to be, then I'm going to give everything that I have to this program. I'm going to give everything that I have to my classes. I'm going to give everything that I have to my internships, and any moment that I have to be with people, I'm going to love them. And that was the mindset that I had while I was in OSL. And as I had that mindset, my heart was changing, and I realized that my passion is to lead people in worship.
My starting point happened 5 years ago when I came to Texas, and I came with the intentions of just playing drums, and couldn't harmonize, didn't know how to play a lick on the guitar or anything like that. But I had this one moment with God, and it was my first semester here. It was 11 p.m. I was sitting in the chapel at SAGU, and God told me I was going to write songs on the piano, specifically on the piano, for thousands of people. And I was like, thousands of people? It's kind of a word maybe that you might throw around a bit, but he told me that, and 2 years later from that night, I played and recorded a song on the Oaks worship album called Lift Up the Light, and that was a fulfillment of what God had told me 2 years prior to that night. So for me, it was, OSL has gotten me ready for where I am now today. And right now I'm the worship pastor at New Community Church in Mesquite, and a growing church. The past 3 years we've gone from about 100 people to 600 people, and I would not have been ready for that now if I didn't go through everything that God taught me while I was at OSL. And so my starting point really happened that night though, at SAGU, in that chapel, and he's just been teaching me and molding me and shaping me since.
So this is exactly why we started OSL over 20 years ago. The focus was to be able to bring people to a starting point, a place where they could be immersed in a culture of growth, where every single thing, all the elements, all the people around them, it was all about them waking up at the beginning of the day and saying, how can I grow? How can I become all that God has called me to be? And so over the years, we've continued to hone the product. In fact, we've got hundreds of people around the nation and around the world in ministry, everything from worship pastors, kids pastors, senior pastors, church planners, people that are leading nonprofit organizations. But again, the whole focus is how can we do what Jesus called us to do, which was to make disciples of all the nations and teaching them everything that Jesus had commanded us to teach them. So that's the focus of OSL.
And I call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours, you are mine.
I'm so excited that you are here at Campus Days, because I really want you to prayerfully consider, is this the place God has for your training, for your development? Now, here's what is without question. You have been called by God. You've been equipped by God. You have gifts. You have talents. Some of them, like David, you may not even know what they are. Like Alex, you may come and go, man, I've never been in a place like this. But let me tell you something. There is a calling. There is a purpose. There are gifts in your life. And God has a purpose. And one day, you're going to stand before the Lord and give account for that calling, for that purpose. And what I want to do, and what our staff wants to do, is to come alongside of you to help you to be prepared, so that you're going to use every gift, every talent, everything you have to see people come into the kingdom, to see them discipled, to see them developed. I just want it to be that on that day you stand before the Lord, He says, well done. You did good. Come into your reward. I want it to be that you're not there alone, but there's hundreds of folks behind you, maybe even thousands of people, like David was saying, that you've impacted because of your life, that it's multiplied ministry. Our church is here not just to see people saved and come to the kingdom, but to see people like you developed, to be sent out, so that the kingdom of God may be advanced and multiplied around the world. Is this a place for you? Is this a place where you say, I want God to move in my life in a way that there are no borders, there are no hindrances, there is nothing that's holding me back? If so, give yourself to Him right now and say, I'm in. Whatever you want, wherever you want me to go, I'll do whatever it takes, because what else matters?
Spirit.